As busy moms, it goes without saying that we are entitled to our necessary breaks to keeping on with our many expectations of mothering. And me, your host, Flantha, is the mama down to join you for the necessary distraction we all need when life gets too hard, too real, and too much. Join me for an hour of necessary distraction of laughs, cries, and everything in between from adulting, culture, relationships, confessions, and beyond. Welcome to the Necessary Break. I'm your host, Flantha. I have a much needed girl as mamas of color raising radical leaders. I tell her numerous times I will need her advice as my baby girl grows up into that teenage phase too. She's all things nurturing, like literally in the work that she does. We talk about biracial marriages, her mama life story, and being the change that you're meant to be, like currently, and manifesting and being that right now. I will let her introduce who she is.
Hey there, y'all. My name's Draya. I met Flantha a couple years ago. I used to work at the daycare her daughter attended and fell in love with her. And Flantha, there was just something about her that drew me in. So I was like, this relationship is going. Anywho, I am 32, a mom of 2. My daughter is 13. My son is 8. It is crazy and hectic in my life at all times. I am a surrogate. I'm currently 25 weeks pregnant with, this is the 5th pregnancy. It's going really well. And I own a daycare. So my life is chaos.
Yeah, so she's pretty much a superhero. That's how I like to categorize her. And let's roll back a little bit and see how we know each other. I will say we know each other through daycare. So I was trying to be a good mama and put my daughter into a place that I thought was racially inclusive. Andrea was working there and she pretty much became what should have been the director role of having to kind of be like, this is not a colored space like you say it is, even with it in its titled. And me and her, she was just like the one employee there where I was like, okay, you're cool. Like I could vibe with you. Like we know. We have that cultural vibe where it's like, I got you and you got me and you did so well with all the other parents. I think everybody loved you. And more importantly, you did so well with yourself there. I think you just always had the program running. And so when you said that you were leaving and that you were going to do your own thing, I was like, yeah, how do I get my daughter there? What are you doing? Where are you at? Where do you live? Can I come over? Let me see. What do you need help with? So that was kind of the background, but even just who we are, I was like, okay, you're pretty dope. How have I not met you before? And how have we not been in this space before? Especially when we talk about how we grew up and everything. It's like we barely miss each other. And yeah, so it's kind of funny how that happened because I was like, I've lived my whole grown up life and never met you. How is this possible? So she's pretty cool and I'm glad that she's here. We're going to talk a little bit about her surrogacy, daycare, all of that and beyond. So I'll let her talk about that a little bit. Do we want to talk about relationships of that? Sure. Okay. So what is that relationship like for daycare and then for surrogacy?
It's kind of funny because it all kind of ties in together. I love tiny humans. My humans are bigger, so having the tiny ones just kind of grounds you and reminds you of the things to be thankful with your big kids, that they can wipe their own butts. It's really great. Essentially, as a surrogate, I am providing care to this baby before it's here. In my career, I am providing care for the children that are here. So it kind of ties in together, the before, the during, and the after. And so, I don't know. I became a surrogate because I'm a giver, by nature. And sometimes it's a lot for people because I just want to give you all my love. Take my love, let me love you. So when I became a mom really early, I knew in my heart that I wanted to be a surrogate. I had been watching A Baby Story on TLC forever, and I saw on there a woman that was a surrogate, and I was like, oh my God, that is so cool, giving the gift of life to people that can't. I was like, I'm going to do that one day. And then I had my daughter, and I was like, I really want to do this one day. And it had just been something I talked about. My friends said I was crazy, but everybody was like, yeah, we know you're going to do it one day. And so after I had my son, for me, my family was complete. It was I've got a girl, I got a boy, I'm done. So I looked into surrogacy and it just was so easy for me to just get into it. And there were a lot of moving parts in it that I didn't know, the legal parts and the medical parts and how the baby actually gets in there, all of that. But it was great. And my first family's in France and that little girl will be 5. So wow. I was like, I did it. I loved it. And I was like, now I want my body back for a while. And I did have my body back for 2.5 years. And then I was like, I think I want to do it again. So I matched again. This time I have 2 dads and they're amazing. They're local in Minnesota. So like we have a super close relationship, but we went through some tragedy with our first pregnancy with a loss at 22 weeks. So now to be pregnant again and having their rainbow baby, like you walk on eggshells for the first 20 weeks, like, is everything going to be okay? But we're finally to a place where we can celebrate that, and it's a big, big, big win for us.
Oh, you're seriously like an angel, and I know you hear that all the time, and so many people thank you for it, but honestly, I think in the times that we're living today, I think, oh, I get goosebumps. Like, you're pretty cool. Like, you are the definition of what it means to be a badass mom. And I don't know how else I can say that, like, with better words, but you keep doing that. And I think that's so cool because you're so giving. And this time you're literally giving your mind, body, and soul to this.
All of it.
Yeah, to this little girl. And it's amazing that gift that you're going to be able to give to them, because that's family is like no other. And as much as we have our plus sides and downsides of motherhood, it's like you still don't regret it. And I know that you go with such a gracious heart when you do it. So that's so cool.
Thanks. It's been a journey. Let's
Yeah.
get anybody here.
I think that makes you human, and I think that's valid. Let's talk about daycare. How did that all come to be?
Along with being obsessed with childbirth as a youngin', I also always had someone's kids. Like, in my family, I'm the youngest of the first cousins. Like, all of my cousins are in their, like, 40s, like, late 40s and 50s. I'm 32. So they all had kids. So I'm always like, hey, Mom, can I get so-and-so's daughter? Hey, Mom, can I take so-and-so's son? Like, can I just get them and keep them for the weekend? And my mom would be like, yeah, sure, weirdo. Like, if that's really what you want to do, you want to spend your time with someone's kids? And I'm like, I do. So as soon as I was old enough to work, I became, like, a mother's helper for the first year of these 2 twin girls. And then I became their, like, every other weekend nanny when I was old enough to be home with 2 tiny humans. And then I worked in centers, I worked in schools, I worked in daycares, in-home specifically. And working at the in-home daycare I did was when I was like, this is my calling. This is what I want to do. I don't know when it's going to happen, but this is what I want. And so life goes on. You work a bunch of meaningless jobs. And then I finally found myself in a place where we bought the house that worked for the daycare. We started taking like little steps to create the daycare space. And then I just kind of went all in. I was like, you know what? I'm quitting the job. I'm going to put this 3 months like foot in front of the other the next 3 months to get my daycare established and up and running. And it was like everything else just kind of fell into place very easily. Like, I've heard people that struggle through this process, and for me, there's really no struggle. Like, I was like, okay, this is just meant to be, and it happened very quickly.
Yeah, I think that's how you know that it was meant for you. I mean, anytime you talked about it, I was like, God, you do it with such ease. Like, how do you know? Because I know I was venturing out my own business as well too, and though I do something completely different, it was like there's a lot more at risk. And you were always like, nope, got it, good to go. And I'm sure the fear was there, but you never lost that faith or grace to like just do it. And I think that's so cool and so inspiring.
I was told once, like, you have to be giving enough. You have to give enough to be willing to lose the same amount. Like, you can't just give a little and be willing to risk a little. Like, you either got to go all in and be willing to risk it all, or don't do it at all. And I was like, well, I'm ready to take this risk.
Yeah.
This is what I wanted. I'm just going to do it.
I think that's so cool. Because I'm like, my hands are sweating here. Because I'm like, as I'm venturing in this as well too, it's like I'm noticing that. And I think one of my words for this year, because when you guys listen to this, it's going to be like February or March or something. But one of my words was to let go of expectations. And I think you definitely have taught me that. For the better, not necessarily because of the risks or anything, but that it really does, if it is for you, it will truly come to you.
And I'm like, expectations set you up to feel like so much failure. Like, oh, I got time for that. Like, I'm trying to stay on the positive side of things most of the time. So like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's just do it. Throw all caution to the wind. What's the worst that can happen? I'm just not going to have a job for 6 months. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure it out. Like,
yeah.
I set myself up for 3 months. Like, I got 3 months to get my stuff together.
Yeah.
And hopefully, like I said, it worked out. But
that's so cool. So, like, what were like your first impressions of me? Just kidding. You don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
I'll tell you. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so tiny and cute. Like, how does she have a baby? Like, is she old enough to have a baby? Is this her baby?
I feel like everybody says that. They're like, is she the nanny? Like, is that hers, or is this like the 14-year-old? Like, is she on the list of guardians to pick this child up? And I was like, just wait until I wear my heels, okay? Just wait until you see that. And you're like, oh wait, she is the mom. And I did get that from someone who worked there, and she was just like, I think because one day I came in scrubby as hell because I was like, I work from home, I ain't dressing up, and I don't think she worked there in the morning, and she saw me in the afternoon. She's like, hey, who are you here to pick up? And I was like, Avery. They're like, oh, who? Like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm sure. I'm the same woman from this morning. I promise you that is my kid. Like, I'm the same person, okay? I know I'm teeny. So
I'm like, with that though, like, I really get to know the kids first, obviously working in the center, but then with COVID, everything shifted. So then parents weren't allowed in. So then it was like, well, they knew what they were doing, putting me at the door, because I'm going to talk to you. We're going to make a relationship to their demise to some extent, but I was like, I really love your kid, which means you're probably doing a really good job at home. And then one of the people there had told me that you had a spouse that was deployed. And it was like the day that I was wearing my, like, on Fridays we were red. Remember, everyone deployed. And I think that was our real, like, our first real interaction with each other. And I was like, you know what? She's bad as hell. She's doing this on her own with a little baby and she's young. Like, kudos to you. I've been there.
Yeah.
In a different breath, but I've been there being a single mom. It's not easy.
Yeah.
And you've got this little angel of a baby, so you're doing something right.
Oh, you're so sweet.
So I was like, okay,
Let me know how.
intrigued, you know? And so, you know, I'm like, I'm going to get to know her a little bit. I still am keeping it professional, as they say. But
I think we kept it unprofessional when you saw those Nike shoes and you're like, okay, I got you. I'm just going to adjust you here.
it's like after a while, throw all that out the window. I was like, forget being professional.
Yeah. I think that's just a thing too, though, like when we were like the few people of color and we knew what we were asking as far as like quality of care when it comes to, the nature of what we have to do, like generational wealth. There are just some pros and cons to it all. And I know that was always one thing that made me feel a little bit better because it's like, okay, maybe I did choose the right place because she works here. So it's the right place, maybe.
You know, I got my girl. I got my girl's back. I got your back. I'm here to support your family, to be your advocate inside a building that you are no longer allowed in. Like, girl, don't even trip.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, all right. And I knew that. So thank you. And if I don't say thank you enough, thank you. Okay. So one thing I want to talk to you about was what would be 3 words that you would describe like co-parenting experience so far?
Well, I have 2 situations here. So 3 words for my son's relationship with his dad that we have is, I would say, strong, communicative, and equal. My daughter's dad is a whole other story. I would say distant, goodness, selfish, and unavailable.
Yeah.
Very different situations. But I gotta take the positive of the 2 and just let that negative one roll right off. Because you know what? She's old enough. She will figure it out. She talks to her dad. I don't have to anymore. I don't have to be that middleman. But my son's dad and I have a very good relationship. I mean, we were going to get married at one point. Just realized that was just not going to be the move for us. It would not have been good. We would not be having a great relationship had that marriage went through. Luckily, we both agreed, and it's been great ever since. He makes sure that his son is taken care of on his part. He makes sure, I'm taken care of essentially. He asks if his son needs anything, if I'm okay. Because we were together for a while, he knows my family, so he knows anniversaries for deaths and birthdays and things like that. So he reaches out, but also my relationship with his family is good. So I guess my relationship with my daughter's dad's family is also great. But I'm a people person, so I try to make those relationships that I need strong to last, to give support so that I'm getting it when I need it.
Yeah, I need some tips on that because I'm a people person until my introvertness gets in, and then I'm just awkward, and those relationships kind of stall, and I'm like, I don't know why it's stalling, and I don't really know how. And I've just always been that way my whole life because it's I'm great until I'm not, and it's what do we? Now what? I know it's awkward because I told you I wasn't really a people person, and you believed I was a people person, and I wasn't. So that's usually my story. I mean, definitely you handle it way better than I do. Anytime I hear about it, I'm like, God, if I ever need any advice on co-parenting or what that looks like, you would be that person that I'd recommend. Because I think you're a lot like me in that we've lived a lot of lives in our short time here. Not because we wanted to at all, but just more so how we found ourselves. And one thing I was impressed with you was just how you carried yourself so positively and with so much light, even though everything that we've gone through. Because I know for me, I was kind of like, I didn't want that oddball. Like, I didn't appreciate what was thrown at me. And you were always like, and so what? What are you going to do about it? Now what? And I'm like, you're right. I should do something about it. I want to know, what is your perspective on Black mental health and how to rise above the stigmas and allow for generational healing instead?
So, as a Black woman, I had a mother who was very about sweep it under the rug. Sweep it under the rug. Like, you don't need to cry. Like, it's fine. Don't worry. Just sweep it under the rug. There was never a solution. And I can now, as an adult, look back and be like, yep, probably should have been in some type of therapy. I remember being in school, being in like social groups, and I think I could have benefited from so much more than just that social group. I think having a therapist of some sort would have been really beneficial for me. Luckily for me, I have undone that learning of like, you don't ask for what you need, you just sweep it under the rug. When I had my daughter, I was like, I will absolutely not be living that lifestyle. Like, we will not sweep anything under the rug. We're going to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, the things that make you uncomfortable, the things that make me uncomfortable. We're going to talk about it because I don't ever want you to feel like you don't matter or I don't care. There's no solution. Like, we can talk through anything and you can tell me anything. And so in that same sense, I got a therapist.
Yes.
I was like, hey, I have to undo all of the things that I've learned. I know I have trauma. I need to work through this so I can be, 1, better for me, 2, better for my kids, and 3, I mean, I'm somebody's wife, and let's get real. You can't be bringing all that baggage and trauma into your relationships. Like, you need to deal with your shit. So I did. And I was in therapy consistently for 3 years, making sure to deal with my stuff. And I mean, I probably could be back in therapy now. Here, there. But because I have opened that door and taught my kids, like, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to not be okay. What's not okay is to make permanent solutions to temporary feelings. Like, my daughter and I went down a really dark road some years ago, and I was like, yep, we're going to get you some help. Like, I'm your mom. I can only do so much. You're only going to want to open up to me so much at this point. Let's get you some help. And so I reached out to a really good friend, and she pointed me in the direction. She's like, this place is phenomenal. Couldn't tell you what it's called anymore. But I looked into it, and I was like, I have a daughter. This is her age. These are our issues. I'd really like her to see someone. Luckily enough for us, we got a woman of color for her therapist. And it was like, it made me feel like, okay, you're doing something right again. Like, therapists are meant to understand us, but as people of color, specifically a Black woman with a Black child, there are going to be things that a white therapist just isn't going to understand. And that's fine. So it was nice to have a woman of color be able to see Elise for exactly who she is and what her issues are and see them on a level that's the same as hers. So I'm not saying her therapist has went through the things she's went through, but she can understand maybe a little bit more about Elise as a woman of color. So It was great. And like, everybody in my house has a therapist, and except my son. And don't worry, he will be getting one. So, I mean, I have a very close group of friends that are all about therapy. They're all white women. Mm-hmm. So I think it's that's actually kind of a fib. There's a couple of us that are women of color that we're just trying to be very open with therapy. Like, we're in therapy, like getting it out there for the younger generation to understand, like, hey, hi, see me? I look like you, and I'm not always okay. And guess what? I have someone that's going to help me. So if you need that help, tell someone. And I also try to be that for my daughter's friends. Like, all the girls like to hang out at our house. Mm-hmm. Can't quite figure out why, because I'm the strictest of all the parents. But I think I also bring the most fun, and I give them their space to just be whoever they want to be and show up as themselves. But also let them know, like, hey, you got support in this house. If your parents aren't giving you the support you need, come here. I will help you. You need to seek some advice from somebody that's not your mom. That's not me. You need some mental help. Let me know. I will talk to your parents. I will get them the resources that they need because you matter. And I think that's important coming from, like, you know, they're going to hear it at school, but also, like, I might be breaking that stigma for kids that aren't of color as well. So, you know, I'm just open about therapy and how great it is. And everybody has trauma and stuff, and you got to figure it out.
Right?
While you're young, please try to figure it out earlier than later, because, I mean, 3 years of trying to undo trauma, that's hard.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. That's kind of my story too, just having been in therapy for almost 4 years now. And it's like, what I would have known if it would have just been earlier, I would not have to unlearn a whole like decade, if not 2 already. Like, that was so unnecessary. And all of the voices that were like, no, you shouldn't. That was not even my voice. That was just projections of other people who have had unfulfilled needs and were told that habitually you just don't get the support. And that does not help. I mean, we can go into that conversation of how interculturally, how unhelpful that is, because we hear the message all the time from another woman of color to another one, how positive it could be. But I don't know if it's just like people think it's like a jinx or something, or if something bad is going to happen if you do actually do the thing that everyone's telling you to actually do. Because I know I see it from my husband's side, who's half black and half white. And I also see it from my Asian culture as well too, of just that hard like resistance. It's almost like they're going to be hurt. Like someone's going to physically hurt them if they go and do something warm and positive and learn the lessons that you're supposed to and live a better life. Like, it's kind of odd for me to be on the other side and be like, no, I'm glad I did the 3 years that I did, because the 3 years taught me a lot more than my 20 so years in how I thought life was supposed to be, and not to carry so much weight that was already there that I didn't even know that was there. That's the message that I wish more grown women of color would look at when it comes to conversations of getting support. And therapy isn't just always talk therapy. It could be art therapy. It could be music therapy. It could be body therapy. And the thing is, it's okay to keep trying until you find the therapist that you get with. And I think as a person of color, you know how that is. And maybe you're not comfortable with white women. That does not give you a reason to stop.
Correct. And that was my thing. When I first started therapy, I think I was 21, And I was like, okay, I found a therapist. Like, I don't really care for them, but this is what I need to be doing. So I'm going to, and then I was like, this person is doing nothing for me. Why do I keep paying you when you're doing nothing for me? It took me probably seeing 3 different therapists before I found my one. And I mean, she was a white lady, but she was like, the things that I had going on were her specialty. And I was like, you know what? Right now, that's what kind of trumps it for me. But when it came to my daughter, it was different. I think it was very important for her to have a woman of color. Trying to teach her things about our culture and the things we're going to come up, like we're going to face as women of color. Like, I had no one telling me that. I was learning that on my own. And so now teaching her, it was nice to have another woman of color to support that with like the psychological part of things, you know? So for me, it didn't matter, but for her, I think it does. That's
I think
another clip of it too.
Right. I think it was also cool because you advocated for that. And then you also saw her as a partner in this and not a competition.
Correct. And I'm out here like, look, I was a young mom, okay? I need all the help I can get. Like, I think I'm doing a good job, but we are 13 years in this. But you had talked to me when she was like 2. I don't know what I'm doing. I do not know what I'm doing. I am flying by the seat of my pants, and I will take whatever help I can get. And luckily, I had a village. And I think some people also have that stigma, like, I just need to do this on my own. No, you don't have to suffer on your own. There are people out there to help you. And it doesn't make you weak to say you need help. And if anything, it makes you a stronger person to admit that you need help. You can't do this on your own. Some battles you don't have to carry on your own. Like, dang, say you need help. It's not going to kill you, I promise. That's also a Black woman's point of view. Like, I need to be strong. I need to do this on my own. And I'm like, you don't. You don't need to be strong. You don't need to do this on your own. You can ask for help. And I'm sure if you got the people in your circle that will help you if you ask. If you don't, well, you need a new circle.
I think that's so true. I think I have this saying that I say, like, poverty feeds on a limited mindset. And that just keeps you little. That keeps people like us little in a system that was made for us to be little.
Right.
So now you don't have a system that truly was built against you. You've made it so that you're against yourself. And if that isn't what the white man wants,
I mean, let me tell you. I was also thinking while you were talking about therapy, like I know for my family, and I think for you, you might be able to touch on this too, but from the Asian side, church, just pray, honey, the Lord's going to help you. You don't need therapy, just pray to God. Okay, look, the Lord hears me, and maybe him telling me this lady is going to help me is his answer, okay? So don't be trying to shun my therapy because of God. Okay, God has given me lots of resources, and guess what? Therapy is one of them. And I'm not trying to speak for you, but I would say maybe that would be the same for like a shaman on your side of things. Like,
it is. It's very, if anything, it's shamed upon, just because religiously, well, within the Hmong culture, there's two. It's been more progressive that you get two parts. It's either your Hmong shamanism or your Hmong church. And if you're Hmong church, then you pretty much hate your original Hmong culture, and to say that God will enlighten all of that instead. That's the weird synopsis of that. And then for Hmong shaman, it's like you just don't talk about it. If you speak of anything ill, then you must just need a ceremony. You must just need a spirit ceremony in order to be all better, because something's wrong with the soul or something's wrong with the spirit. Which probably, yeah, and maybe all it took was somebody talking to somebody who is an expert at trauma that is generationally something that makes sense. A ton of y'all ran in the forest, in the jungles, to make it to America. And we didn't even really know, you guys didn't really know what happened in order to get you guys here. That's me talking about it really lightly as far as what happened to Hmong people and the Vietnam War. You can Google it. I'm not going to do that for you, for those listening. But that in itself didn't happen that long ago. That only happened 50 years ago. Like, our parents are now in their 60s and 70s, meaning that this is something that they had experienced, that they were born into, if not running as teenagers. So when I hear you on that, and people in my Hmong culture say therapy is not the answer, I go, therapy is the shining light, because no one has ever talked about it. Our parents still don't talk about it, about what their experiences were, but their actions of how they raised us, very authoritarian. Mm-hmm. A lot of that is speaking from the white man teachings of that, right? Which is to keep any other culture little. And to go back to your note there, like, that's why there's so much undoing that needs to happen within my generation that still can't even be brought up to the conversation that it needs to right now. I don't think this is going to be a conversation until my daughter grows up, until she realizes that her parents, me, have a lot of undoing of our own parents. And that right there, like, why do we need to wait that long? And I'm not about to do that. And I think this is where we relate, because we're not about to make that our kids' problem. Like, they don't deserve that. So yeah, I get you on that.
I was just thinking, like, you are an Asian woman of color, I'm a black woman of color, but there are so many things that can tie, like, we can bond on. Not that they're the exact same thing, but like, there are those ties to those hard times. And like, yeah, my mom was not talking about any of that. My aunts and uncles aren't talking about any of that, or the things that they had to endure growing up in the South. Like, I know they got stuff. I get it. I understand. Like, I'm teaching myself. Mm-hmm. I'm learning these things so I can teach my kids and make sure that they understand, because I grew up with my family and how they are. My kids don't like being around my family because of how they are. And I'm like, trust me, I get it. But like, you also have to understand, they're not coming from a place of malice. Like, this is just how they were raised. The things that they saw, the things that they've had to overcome, the things that they've had to sweep under the rug, that they've turned a blind eye to, it affects them in a way that they're not telling. Like, you and I might say, you know what? That doesn't feel right. I'm going to fix that. But for them, that doesn't feel right. Let me sweep it under the rug. Mm-hmm. So I'm like,
I love that you're saying that, because my in-laws. Oh, my in-laws. And I know we speak on that. I was like, how do I help them? Because I get it on my Asian, like, I get the themes. The themes are literally like parallel. So how do I do that for them as my in-laws, being the black family that they are? These are just the things that they normalize as okay to deal with situations that are real life, like, problem solving. Like they will literally they have lived decades into this in marriages, and just swept it under the rug? Like, and then just assume the best the next time when it only makes it worse? Like, how are y'all gonna call this Christmas and under the Lord of love and Jesus and y'all all hate each other? Like, I don't get that. Like, and now I'm outcasted? Like, I don't even know you. You don't even know me. Like, well, how did that happen? And my husband, he's just like, you know, he gets caught in the middle because he's just like, I don't know, sweep it under the rug. And I'm like, that ain't working. That ain't working. And so I was like, don't be mad if I gotta say something. And whatever I say, just know it's in kindness and in assertiveness and in reaching for, you know, love. That's what I'm reaching for. And it's not in any way malicious of how I say things, but sometimes it is just dang disrespectful. And I'm allowed to call that out. Like, what you said was not okay. I love you, but don't say that again. And that's my boundary. So let's talk about something else, you know? And like we can carry on little things like that because you was rude. And that I don't know what I did. And if I did, you won't even explain it to me.
Correct. Like, I wouldn't even know what I did wrong because you swept it under the rug and, hey, I'm searching for it. Hey, hello, what is it? Mm-hmm. I will say I am in an interracial relationship. My husband is white. He comes from a very small town of white conservative people. So when I first met his mom, I was terrified. I am a black woman for one. I got 2 kids out of wedlock, and you want me to meet your conservative parents? I don't really know about this. And so the first thing my now mother-in-law said to me when she first met me was, oh wow, your hair's purple. And I'm like, yes, it is. My birthday's coming up. I'm going to be 26. I wanted to do something fun. And I was like, is this going to be a relationship? She's going to criticize me in the nice way. I was like, oh God, this is going to be this is not going to work. But over the years, that's not how she is at all. She's very similar to me in the sense that she's got just so much love. She just wants to give. And luckily enough, she wants to unlearn things and relearn them. She loves my son so much, and she is learning. He's a black man of color. He's mixed with white. Like, he's biracial, don't get me wrong, but at the end of the day, he's a black boy. And she has been so immersed in like everything that's happening in black culture and to the black men, and she has like voiced to me, like, at first she didn't understand. Everybody was so angry. And I was like, told my husband, I can't do this conversation. Like, you're going to need to take this one because I can't. And I don't want to, actually. And that's my right to say I don't want to. And so he and his mom, I think, had a conversation, and she started really looking into things, and her point of view completely switched. And it was nice because I didn't have to be like, hey, look, see my son, he's going to grow up one day to be probably a bigger black guy. Like, and what if that's him that's getting gunned down in the street? What if that's him that's being wrongfully done to? Then will you see him for what it is? And will that change your point of view? But luckily, we didn't have to get there. She has been really great. She has like since switched her point of view of things. And for a conservative white woman in her 60s, that's a big deal. And so it was nice to not have to do that. But there are little things that come up, and I'm going to be like, so Dan, are you going to talk to her, or would you like me to do it? And he's like, nope, I got it. Let's not ruin your relationship with my mother. I'm like, cool. Thanks.
That's so awesome, though, that Dan just literally picks up wherever, you know.
He's like, yeah, no, let me do it.
That's so awesome. Dan wants to teach some lessons. I'm kidding. Parker does fine. He does fine. And speaking of culture, how are you feeling about the whole like Astro World that went down? Kanye, Lil Nas X.
Follow any of that mess. I'm like, look, my positive little bubble that I live in cannot be disturbed by all that crazy. So like, I am so out of the loop on most things. Not even gonna lie to you. I'm like, people like it's all over Facebook, and I'm like, yep. Why do you think I'm not on Facebook? I'm on Facebook for business purposes, to upload some photos for the parents to see their children. And from like, you know, time to time I might post a funny meme, but like, girl, cannot be on no Facebook. I don't watch the news. Why would I want to be depressed? Why would I want to start my day that way? No, I want to wake up in a good mood. Let's have a good day. Like,
that's so true. That is so true. I just have to ask, because, you know, with being in music and everything like that, because one time when I went in your car, I was like, oh, okay. You are as cool as I thought you were.
I mean, I listen to a lot of different things, but when it comes to like, I don't know, the crazy. Like, I know Kanye done lost his mind, okay? Like, I know that because I used to listen to him back in the day when he was good, you know, Jesus Walks. Like, okay, yes, Kanye. no, Kanye, what are you doing these days? Like,
Yeah.
I see his, like, stupid stuff about his fashion line, and I'm like, where is that fashion? But, like, other than that, I don't keep up with them people. They ain't paying none of my bills.
My only thing is, so Parker's military, right? And when Kanye was boozing up those, like, combat boots, I was like, that those are uncomfortable. You get them for $40, and you're upcharging $500 for those. Anybody can go to the, Salvation Army and get some boots, and it's $40. The same dang material, literally. And also, no military man would be like, yeah, we wear those out of fun. No one. So the fact that he was wearing it as fashion, I was like, you are so out of it. Like, you have no idea what it means to just any other shoe, literally anything. Like, sandals, anything.
I don't think they're cute either. So, like, maybe I'm just not a fashionista, and that's fine. Like, your girl loves to be comfortable. Okay? So,
me too.
Like, cool. Like, I'm not out here trying to be fashionable. I'm not trying to spend $500 on a pair of tennis shoes. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. And I don't get the whole, like, I get it if it's like a whole lifestyle. Like, you can, like, you have the car, you have the house, and the shoe. But if you only got the shoe, man,
like,
and you live in, like, the projects, and you live in,
you're not.
Right, and you drive like a Toyota Camry from like 1992, something's missing. Why did that $500 have to go to those shoes? Like, literally, like, I don't get it. And obviously priorities, but just within our Asian and our Black community, sometimes I'm a little like, that's what you think life is worth?
Yeah, it's very materialistic. Like, growing up, we shopped at Payless, and I was like, oh, how do I make these shoes look cool? Like, what can I undo? Like, you want to look the part. The older I've got, I was like, yeah, I don't want to look the part. You know what I want to have? I want to have stability. I want to have a home. I want to have a car that works. I want a roof over my kids' heads.
Yes, mama.
Savings accounts. I will forego the $500 for shoes and purses and nice things to put that money away for my kids so that when they get big, they're not out here struggling, okay? Like, I'm trying to set up futures for my children. Tell me I look busted. Okay, and how do my kids look? Okay, they might look busted too because they've gotten to a point where they dress themselves. Okay.
But they're going to have a daycare down the line. They're going to be having a business that they can run.
That's so much more important to me. And I think I will say there are people in my family, younger generation. My cousin just started a business. He is super successful. Little plug. His business is Turn Signal. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's like the app you can download on your phone. And if you're being pulled over, you like log into this app and it connects you to it. And he's the same age as me. I think he might even be a year younger, but he and I are probably the most similar, the black sheep of the family. We're both married to white people.
How dare you?
We want better for ourselves and our children and, our lives or whatever. But he started a business. I started a business. We are, the two of us maybe trying to break that, like, there's more to life than just what you look like. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he dresses nice, his wife dresses nice, their daughter, you know what I mean? They got the cute little family with the white picket fence. They're doing the thing. But he's also setting up a future for his family. He's not just pouring into himself in stupid frickin' shoes. But then I have another cousin who's a little bit younger than us, and he's also started a business. Like, slowly but surely, I feel like it will trickle through the Black community. It's just going to maybe take a little bit longer. And it's going to take people like my cousin, who is a Black man, standing up for what he believes in with this business. And I mean, he's got, some business partners, but like, that is a big deal. Like, he is making a huge difference in the Black community. And it's going like to different states and things like that. So it's like a big deal. So I'm like, little by little, I feel like it will trickle. It's going to take a while to get to where we want it to be, but
I think that's so amazing, especially with everything that's happened recently, especially here in Minnesota. That's so awesome to hear that. I'd be happy to put that in the show notes for you guys listening so that you guys can get a direct access to that alongside information for Draya as well, too.
Like, I hope that was okay, but I was just like, he's doing big things, and it's a big deal, especially if there are people of color listening to this, and maybe they don't know, and let's get real. We can all benefit from more resources that are going to help us. Not more Kanye shoes. No more Kanye shoes. No more Yeezys.
Yes. I agree with you. So one of the bits that I know that you wrote down, because you're type A like me and forgot, but I'm glad that you forgot, so this can sound more natural, is a hell no, which is relationship things that are just a hard boundary of not partaking in, whether that's intimacy, life lessons learned, playfulness, body part, partner habits.
My hell no is my husband's feet. Please don't put them on me. Don't put them by me. Put some socks on them. Like, ew. Feet are gross as it is. My husband has like the most manly, ugly feet. And he knows how I feel, so there's no secret. But I'm like, oh, He will like jokingly like want to put his foot on me on the couch. I'm like, oh,
No.
boy, you better quit. Like, don't you put that on me. Like, I can't, no.
So you don't cut his toenails then?
Absolutely freaking not. No. He and I are in therapy because it's great for everybody. And one of the things is like, explore a part of your spouse's body that you would never touch. And I was like, oh God. Oh my God. So I'm like, I think I have to put lotion on your feet. And it might kill me. But I'm going to do it because it's our homework. And so I did. And I was like, never doing that again. Because a one and done. I explored them. I know I don't like them. I knew I didn't like them before. And now we are done.
And look at that.
Oh, God. It was like, But he will, like, rub my feet. And I'm like, yes, rub the feet. Yes. Get in those crevices.
You're like, it's one way. Okay, I'm actually pregnant. So you like this helps. This is the whole thing.
Yes, this is giving. This is filling my cup. Please rub my feet.
Oh.
I'm like, oh boy, you don't have to ask somebody else to do that. I'll rub your head, but you, not them feet.
You rub his head? Okay, just gotta make sure we're talking about the right head here.
Yep, I mean, I guess, but yes, he's bald. So I'm like, lay your head in my lap and I will give you a head rub, boo, but I'm not touching them feet again.
Yeah, I don't really know what it is, but like men love their head like being like touched or like massaged. And it's so odd to me because if females, I don't know, I'm not like that. Like if he starts touching
my hair, do not touch my head. Don't touch my face either.
Right.
Like,
that's weird to me. Like that is so odd. Like even me brushing my hair is like a chore, and it doesn't, it doesn't feel good. So like when he tries to like massage my head the same way, I'm like, I don't think this is giving off what it's supposed to be giving off. It don't feel good. Like this feels weird. Now you're giving me tangles. Now my hair is like all scrunched up and I gotta put oils in it and I just washed it. Like I don't get it.
Or like I might have something on my face and Dan will go to wipe it off and I'll move. Nope, what are you doing? He's like, well, you have something on your face. I was like, I'll get it. Don't mix your oils with my face oils because that's how I get a pimple. And he's like, you are too much. And I'm like, I don't want a pimple. I don't want it. Don't mix your hand oils with my face oil. Don't touch my face.
Yeah. How's your skincare routine?
Honey, I am 32 with a 5-step skincare routine. Okay, I'm trying to stay looking 25 for the rest of my life. And if that means having a 5-step care routine, I'm going to do it.
Just at night or in the morning?
I do mine in the morning because a girl cannot be bothered at night. Like, I cannot. Half the time I fall asleep on the couch. Like, I'm done with the day. Like, being pregnant does not help. I'm like, I'm so tired. Like, out, done.
Oh,
so,
my.
In the morning, it's a wash, it's a toner, it's an oil, it's a mist, and then it's lotion, face lotion. And I should be doing SPF right now, but I only do that in the summertime when there's actually sun outside. So then it's a 6-step care routine. I'm like, who am I?
No, I'm right behind you. I am right behind you. I got a 7-step in the morning and at night. I can't be raising it up here, man.
Girl, let me tell you.
If you thought I looked 14, I gotta continue looking 14 for the rest of my life here.
Asian don't raisin and black don't crack. So
no, I'm trying to
stay that way forever.
Right. I'm trying to get in the whole like phase where when my daughter's 15, I still look 15, so they can't tell who's the daughter and who's the mom. Like that's my life goal right there.
I'm currently living that actually. Most people think that I'm my daughter's sister. And sometimes I just lie and I'm like, yeah, totally. And she looks at me and gives me a look and I'm like, yeah, we're going along with this. I'm the sister today, okay? And then when they come to our house and they realize I'm your mom, they're going to be shocked. And she's like, she's my mom. And I'm like, you ruined all my fun.
Y'all really, I mean, you're just as short as I am. Okay. Yes. You only got like an inch. Okay. So you're still just as short. Okay. We're the same body size, I think. Pretty teeny. And personally, like when I saw your TikTok of you and your daughter, I was like, wait, which one is her? Which one's her kid? Which one? I was like, they both booty shaking, so I don't know which one it was. But yeah, it was a cute video. Yeah, I was like trying to figure out who you were. Like, because she is taller than you now.
Yeah, she's like 5'5".
Right, and I'm like...
5'1".
Right, and she like totally like grew because the last time I saw her, you were like the same height.
Yeah, she's surpassed me. But she's done growing now, so I'm like... Okay, well, you're taller than me, but I don't need a step stool to beat you down. Try me, okay? Like,
You're still her mama.
Tiptoe up and I will be at your level.
Yes.
Sit, honey. I don't think I'd ever have to, but... Oh, yeah. I knew she was going to be taller than me. Like, that was never a question.
Yeah. So, speaking on that, what is your spirit animal?
Oh, my gosh. I've always just said a panda. Because they're
a panda.
Asian, they lay in a tree and they eat all day and they just live their best life. Like, everybody's obsessed with them. Like, yeah, let me lay in this tree and eat bamboo and you be so obsessed with me. And I'm the best of three worlds. I get to be black, white, and Asian. Yes.
So you're my daughter. Avery's a little panda, literally.
She actually is, yes.
She's black, white, and Asian, literally. That is so hilarious. I didn't know that about you. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. I think because I'm so go all the time, like the idea of just laying somewhere and eating and people just loving me for doing that, the bare minimum, I have to open my eyes and eat.
I think being any animal in a zoo, you would be happy being because you know when your next meal's coming. You got shelter. And you know that you don't got to be doing nothing to get these.
Coming to see me. They're coming to look at me.
You could literally be as lazy as you want, as active as you want, and you'd still be impressive. Oh my God. My spirit animal, I think I'm an elephant.
Really?
Yeah.
I love an elephant. It's not my spirit animal, but I do love it.
I actually got a tattoo of an elephant. Yes. Did I show you?
Dan has one too. No.
Yeah. Well, I got it in Thailand because I was inspired after finishing college that I went to Thailand. And that's where my people are from. We're nomadic people, so it's not like, that's where Hmong people are from. No, it's not like that. We're like, what I like to say, we're like Native Americans of like China.
You're from all over the place. All of you, all over.
We are. So we're not from like Mongolia. Okay. I promise you, like that's usually the first one. That's not true. And my point to this is like when I got it, yes, it was sterile. We didn't get no diseases just because it's overseas. But it was because like they're so magical. Like we spent a whole day with them. It was just Parker and I, and we fed them, we played with them, we gave them like a mud bath and everything. And I was like, they literally are the most mystical, magical things. And just what they stand for, like nobody knows how much of an impact they make, but their presence brings that. And I think I've kind of been told that my whole life, where I'm sort of like that, but I'm at 4'11", but somehow my presence is so much bigger than that before I even walk into the room. And especially when I start talking, I can get loud. This little girl can get loud. Draya and I both know that. Like whenever we go eat out, we're loud. We close the restaurants. That's what we do.
We've done that twice now. I'm like, I think they're closing. We should maybe wrap up.
Right, but like, I mean, we wrap up real quick. We're like, okay, bye.
We're still respectful.
Of course, always. And so I think that, I mean, spirit animal wise, I definitely an elephant. They're so gracious and so gorgeous. Oh, gosh, the things that they can do is so cool.
Yeah, did you go to like an elephant sanctuary? Mm-hmm. Yeah, my girlfriends went to Thailand a couple years back and they went to an elephant sanctuary and they loved every minute of it. And I think one of my girlfriends actually has an elephant tattoo as well. But I think she got it before she went. I don't know. For her, it has a different meaning. But they were like, I've never been like close to one. But I'm like, oh, I would live for it. But I also love cows. It's not my spirit animal, but I love cows. I love a cow. Like, I just want, for a long time, they were my favorite animal. And I was like, I just want to meet a cow. And I was like, what is wrong with you? Who wants to meet a cow? And I'm like, I do. I want to meet a cow. And then I met a cow and I fell in love. I'm like, I just want to love all the cows.
So do you eat the meat?
I'm supposed to be going to like a cow, I wouldn't call it a cow sanctuary, but it's like a place where people rescue cows. And I'm like, I cannot wait for this summer.
Can I come? That sounds like fun. From what I hear, cows are like really funny.
They're so great. my girlfriend has a farm and she's got a cow and we call her a naughty moo because she's very, very playful.
Oh.
So she's not malicious, but she will come up and like butt you, and they're not small animals, you know, and I'm not a big person. So I'm like, okay, boo, like you have to be careful because I'm not very big and you are huge. But she's so playful. She like jumps around and gallops and it's so funny.
I want to see that. Invite me.
I shall.
We got to spread this generational wealth.
It's like, I shall. I got to go with her and pick up like a baby calf and transport it from its birth home to its now forever home.
Oh my
And
gosh,
she was,
that's like a dream come true.
So jumpy and happy once she got out of the truck. And I was like, I just love her. So yeah, I love a cow.
Oh my gosh. They should have like, you know how they have like goat zoos and stuff?
Yes.
And like llama zoos? They should have like cow zoos.
Cows are like underrated. People don't even understand. They want to go see the horses. I'm like, let me go see the cow.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think they're so cool. If you ever get the chance though, just go back on the whole elephant thing. Like elephants are so cool. They're so you feel their presence of like silence, but like magicalness and what they do with their tongues, and not their tongues, but their that sounded a little yeah, the trunks. That's what it is. I was like, what am I talking about? What is that thing that extends out of them? Their nose is so cool. They like to tickle like humans and stuff. They see humans as like playthings. Yeah, like puppies. And I thought that was hilarious because Parker's not a small dude. And that thing was playing with Parker like there was no tomorrow. It lifted him up like it was a puppy, like it was a feather. And I was like, okay, Parker's like 200 pounds. And Elephant was like, 400, 500 pounds? That is crazy. And Parker was like, yeah, it was so cute because he was so fun about it. And he was like giggling with it. And I'm like, I wish I could record this moment right now because there's not a lot of moments like this that you as a big ass soldier is so giggly and so girly about this right now because you can't help the tickle.
Oh yes, I've read somewhere that elephants look at people like we look at puppies. And
Yeah.
like, oh my god, that's adorable. Because you know what I mean. Like we just like fall over puppies. Like, oh my god, look at how cute it is. And I'm like, if elephants are like in there, I'm like, oh my god, look at how cute this person is.
Yeah. Well, when we gave him a bath, the little baby was like trying to have me tussle with it, and I was like, honey, I cannot tussle with you. Like this, it was like throwing mud at me and sprouting it. It was so dang cute. And it was like making all these noises. And I was asking like the guy, like, why is he making all these noises? And he was like, well, he's trying to play with you and you're not playing back with him in the same amount. So he's trying to play like hide and seek underwater. And that's why he's playing with his trunk, but you're not finding him. And I'm like, oh my God, this is so cute. What? Me?
My bucket list is going to Thailand to play with the elephants. Noted.
Yeah, you have to. The sanctuaries, make it so worth it. I think we were there for like 8 hours.
Oh my god.
And and on the ride back, I was like, I think that was like the best day of my whole life. They were so cute. The elephants were saying bye. They were waving away too. It was so dang precious. I definitely recommend it. Another time. So my next one here is called Happy Hour. What is one thing you got to get off your chest? Because I know you as a business owner, I'm sure you do have a lot of those. A personal or work pet peeve, or like people pet peeve, daily task annoyance, something that you hate to love, or a guilty pleasure.
Oh, Lord, I've got a lot of those.
Share.
As a business owner, I own an in-home child care. I hate when people call me a babysitter. Your child does not get dropped off and play all day. I do not just sit around and look at them. I am not your child's babysitter. I am not any child's babysitter. Your child comes in, I am their chef. I am their teacher. I am their nurturer. I am just about everything except their parent, and I am not a babysitter. Do not call me a babysitter. Makes my blood boil.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And especially just because you're in-home, I don't think that draws away from the quality that you provide, because who you are as a person, you make sure that structure is known. Like you actually have a yearly plan of like PTO days and everything. I think that means a serious tone of what you do and how well you take care of the babies in your care.
Yeah, I was like, somebody called me a babysitter and I just about wanted to cut them. Like,
And you're not a violent person, I promise.
Excuse me, you come sit with these kids for a day and tell me if I'm a babysitter or more. Okay, please don't try to undermine what I do. And so that's that.
That makes sense. I totally get you. I mean, especially when you do the whole thing. You do the cleanup, you do the prep, you do the everything and more, and the Monday to Friday, and then the paperwork. It's so much more. And I think we were just talking about this. I love how the parents love on you so well. Like, you're the one, yes, like, they love on you.
They very quickly learned who I was and what my love language is. So they bring me snacks all the time. They'll text me in the morning, be like, I'm stopping at Caribou, do you want anything? And I'm like, oh my God, I love you so much. Like, the parents I have are really great, I will say, at most. Like, they're very attentive to my needs. They're very aware of my pregnancy. They're very supportive of this pregnancy. They're just very sweet. They check in with me and make sure I'm feeling okay. Or they'll text throughout the day, like, how are the little munchkins doing? I hope they're being kind to you. Like, I have very sweet parents, and most of them do show me, like, through giving me sweet things. Like,
well, you're sweet to them too. You send them endless photos by just an easy ask. And I think that's so awesome, especially because some parents do care about, like, why you're on your phone so often. It's like, because I'm sending you pictures. Yeah. And I'm a human and I have my breaks. And there's nothing wrong with me checking in with you. I think it goes both ways. And I see that effort. And I know if I have anybody, I'm always like, you can look into Draya and see if she's available, because I know that she's great. Especially when I know that they're, like, cool white women. I'm like, now I can recommend you, because I wasn't about to recommend you to them if they weren't like that.
Don't send me the bougie moms.
Yeah.
Oh, nope, I'm here. Look, here's the thing. We're not going to work, okay?
Yeah. And that's so cool that you have that tone too, because I'm sure you meet a ton of them and you're like, I think you explained this to me. You're like, I'm a Black woman. That will be known.
Yep.
That goes into the teachings.
Yeah. And that's like a part of, like, a tour. Like, you know, the parents come in, we sit down, we talk about my handbook, you know, the boring parts. But, like, I let them know, like, I am a woman of color, and sending your children to me will mean that you are ready to expose them to things that are of my world. You're ready to expose them to things of other cultures, because I'm not just going to teach them about what it means to be a Black woman. Like, I want them to love everybody, no matter what their shape, color, disability is. Like, Christmas just passed, and while all of my family celebrated Christmas, we talked about Diwali, we talked about Kwanzaa, we talked about Hanukkah, we talked about Christmas. And so it's just opening up those doors to different things that parents don't think about it, / it's not their norm, so why would they care? But, like, exposing these kids to more than just their white culture, because most of the kids I have in my care are white, my little white babies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I make it very known right away, because maybe that's not for them. Maybe they're conservative and they didn't realize I was a Black woman, even though my picture is on my website, so that nobody was confused. But yeah, I'm just like, I want to help raise these kids to be inclusive. Like, I have a kid who has no idea what she wants to call herself when it comes to sexuality, but we will talk about how families look different. There are 2 moms, there are 2 dads, there are single moms, there are single dads, there are mom and dads, there are parents that have multiple, like, you know what I mean? They're blended, these parents. Like, so we've done, like, a unit on families, and I've got, like, little dolls, you know, and all of them are different color. They all have different, like, there's 4 different babies of 4 different shades, and there's a brother and there's a sister and, like, mom and dad. And one of the days I was like, show me what your family looks like with these people. And it was hilarious to me, because my little blonde-haired girl built her family, and her dad was Black, her mom was white, and she was Black.
Oh my.
And nobody in that family is Black. So it was super funny to see how she sees herself. And I'm like, I wonder why that is. And so, like, I still haven't figured it out, but I'm like, there's got to be some correlation between her dad, and maybe me, and why she sees us as Black.
Yeah.
And her mom is white.
Just like, I love everybody, so I like to think that everybody is everybody.
They're all Black.
Yeah.
Except my mom, she's white. No. So, like, I then was building families for them. Like, I built 2 dads and 3 babies, and I'm like, do you know that some families look like this? I built like 2 moms and no babies. And I'm like, some family, you know what I mean? Like, I just want them to be exposed to things that their parents aren't always going to expose them to.
Yeah. And I think that's your role too. I think as a mom, I know I look into that and there's not enough spaces like that for, you and I have spoken about this, for people of color to have had quality care and what that looks like in quality conversations. And I think you provide that, because I know in my search, it's a lot of like, unfortunately, if I was to put Avery in a classroom where 80% of them are people of color, more likely all 85% of them are also through the state. And then that goes down to quality care because the people who owns the institution don't actually care about it other than the fact that their numbers, they're getting paid. And that's unfortunate for Parker and I, because we could provide more with better quality care, but that would mean putting her in a white situation where now it's harder for, now she's got the quality care, but not the quality conversations. And I think that's why you and I have had a lot of these conversations of like, where is that middle ground? And I that's why I would recommend you above and beyond anytime I can, because you do that and more. And I think that's a skill that you can't teach somebody. You can't just say, this is mine, because it all comes from who you are as a person. That's so cool. I just hope you know how much I admire that out of you. And as we're raising our babies in this very multiracial nationality type world, we're going to need more spaces like that. So the work that you do is very, very important. The last part that I am going to leave you on, which I do want to know, is not my secret. It's a good laugh, poop stories, social awkwardness, juicy family tea that you want to share with us.
Oh, Lord. I mean, I've got a couple that I could pull out, but I'm going to use this one just because I lost my mom a couple of years ago and her anniversary is coming up, so she's heavy on my mind. Me and my bridesmaids and my mom were going to a wedding show. So everybody loved my mom. Like, she's me, but like an older version / gave no fucks about anybody.
So she was a wise woman.
So yeah, she's great. And so everybody naturally flocked to her. It was great. On the way back from the wedding show, we were talking about relationships in our younger years. And my mom, rest her soul, told my girlfriends and I a story I'd never heard before, which meant that I could not filter what my mother was about to expose of herself. She told my girlfriends that she slept with a couple of her teachers.
Oh my.
Grades. And I was like, Mom, you can, it's out there now. I can't undo. And all the girls are just laughing. And I was so embarrassed. I'm like, Mom, you cannot just be saying things like that out loud. Like we need to have these conversations first. Like, some of these girls are like pure, Mom.
Some of these girls are like pure.
I have a girlfriend, and I mean, to me, she's as pure as they come.
Oh, sweet her.
I mean, she loved my mom, and most people love my mom, but I was just like, you cannot say things like that in front of her. Like, have you met her? Do you know her? You know her mother. You know her family. You cannot. So yeah, that's my family tea.
Oh my God, your mom, she was the OG.
She also went to Central.
Oh my God! How dare you out me like that? Now all these people know. Yeah, you see what I mean when earlier I said our lines literally like crossed without us actually crossing in real life until just a few years ago. That is, anyway, this is Draya. And I hope that you really enjoyed this episode. I know we had a ton of fun and giggles, and I hope that you laugh along too. See you guys next week. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of The Necessary Break with your host, Philantha. We love that you enjoyed yourself with this episode. Send us a voice memo of your favorite moment, write a 5-star review, and click subscribe to be the first to listen to the next episode. See you next week.